We're back at the 2010 Dixie Deer Classic. Andrew Kerman is holding the #1 North Carolina bow kill. It's a 166 6/8 net score for Pope and Young, and it is not only the Dixie Deer Classic best typical bow kill, it's also best of show for North Carolina. Andrew, tell us a little bit about the deer. Did you know that it was in this area?
I suspected it was there. I'd seen a fairly large buck about 2 weeks earlier, but it was about 200 yards away, so I wasn't sure it was this buck, but I knew there was a nice deer in that area.
Okay, and so you were hunting strictly with bow for this deer?
That's correct.
Okay.
Hunting on private land where the landowner's only given us permission to bow hunt.
Right, and it was in Guildord County,
That's
right?
Correct, Guildord
Okay.
County.
Now tell us about the day of the hunt. You had seen it that one time at a far distance. What
Right.
about the day of the hunt? How did it come down?
Well, the day of the hunt, I actually set out to hunt another part of this farm, but some other folks were there. This was the opening day of rifle season, and so I got pushed out of the area I intended to hunt by a couple other gentlemen who had permission to hunt basically the same area. So I didn't really see much that morning. Called my buddy around 9 o'clock. He had shot a doe, so we recovered the doe. Went and took a break, got some lunch in Greensboro. Came back in the afternoon. It was probably in the 70s, very hot. My pants had gotten pretty dirty getting the doe out in the morning, so I had to borrow some rain pants from my buddy to go in on, so it was pretty hot. So I spent about an hour walking 100 yards to get to my tree stand.
Well, now, when you first saw it, I mean, was it one of those deals that you watched it for a number of minutes, or did it just sort of pop out on you?
Well, actually, it's pretty amazing. I was sitting in the tree for about 40 minutes, nothing happening. Suddenly, I heard a doe. Suddenly, I heard a doe behind me running away, and I assumed I had gotten busted. I turned around and saw a buck chasing it, and I believe was this buck, but I really couldn't see very well. A minute later, another buck and another doe came out from behind me from the same spot, ran right under my stand. He came back around about 10 minutes later. I drew on him twice, couldn't get a shot. About 10 minutes after that, he showed back up again, was walking down a little stream. This guy came walking down a ridge behind me, and they ended up looking at each other across the stream about 70, 80 yards away. I think he picked up scent that I had set out and came in nose down right along the stream edge, and I shot him at 15 yards.
At 15 yards. How hard was it to draw back on this deer?
Well, I'd been through the ringer already seeing these other deer, so I was pretty calm by that point.
Okay, so I mean, you obviously bow hunting. He's right there. You get a good look at his headgear. When you got to this deer, were you a little surprised at just how big it was?
Well, I didn't know how big it was. I knew when I'd seen it, it was the biggest deer I'd ever seen. And I tried not to look at his antlers the whole time he was walking in. So I really focused on shot placement and where I was going to put the arrow. But yes, when I finally walked up to it, I could see him sticking up out of the shrubbery. It's the only thing I could see was his antlers, and then I knew he was big.
Great, great. Well, look, we appreciate you bringing it to the show. We appreciate you sharing the story with us. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.